Hello and welcome to the WU&Mii podcast. This is episode 1. We have done episodes before, but this is a bit of a soft reboot. Hopefully it'll go better than Spider-Man did. But here is Josh Stevens.
Hiya.
And Demel's Award.
Hello.
Right. A tiny bit of a delay there. We'll cut that, obviously. But yeah, just quickly give an intro of what each of you do on the site. I just write stuff, basically. I don't do much, obviously.
Well, I'm not the main editor, so I'm basically in charge of, you guys. Make sure you don't set things on fire. And I obviously do some writing and reviewing myself.
Nice. So you do nothing, really. Joking. And Dem?
I do a little bit of everything. Sort of do some news, do some reviews, and generally sort of end up rambling about whatever JRPG tends to be on topic at sort of any given moment.
Awesome. Well, we better start off with E3, getting right into it. That small event that happened this month. There are a few games talked about.
That no one really cares that much about, yeah.
A tiny one. It's a little thing, really. But yeah, Nintendo did an event. It didn't go down amazingly, but that's one way to put it anyway. But, we got some cool games out of it. So what were your general opinions on the event?
Should I start then?
Yeah.
To be honest, looking back on it now, after having a few weeks to sit back and analyse everything, I think it wasn't as bad as people had initially thought. I mean, like Star Fox Zero, well, we knew that was going to be there.
Yeah.
That looked pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how it looked, but it looked good, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, graphically it looked a bit shaky, but in terms of the actual game, it looked pretty neat. Fire Emblem Fates, the trailer was really good. The Xenoblade Chronicles X still looks great.
I think,
but
if you look at it, one surprising thing is how well the 3DS got serviced. Because obviously the Wii U was a bit empty, but I know you two love the 3DS and you play it a lot. So, I mean, as 3DS owners, are you happy?
I'd say, yeah, I'm really happy with what it did with the 3DS, actually, because a lot of it, even though we're not seeing a lot of it this year, it's a really strong lineup going into next year, and I think it'll keep the console going over sort of 2016 and maybe... Yeah, I think it'll keep it going quite a while now.
It depends what they do with the NX, really. But, I mean, you've got Zelda, you've got Animal Crossing, you've got Fire Emblem. It's pretty good, but I think it also shows that... Yeah,
I mean, the new Zelda game, Triforce Heroes, looks amazing. I think I've annoyed you in the past when I've suggested that the 4 Sword games are the best Zelda games.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to that game. The only thing that did really nibble me about the 3DS showing V3 was how it seemed Nintendo just quickly swept over Yokai Watch.
Yeah, that's true.
And
that's
it was
delayed now as well.
There's a trailer thrown out of nowhere. It's coming out in America end of this year, in Europe next year, and they just left it for the Treehouse Live.
How much of that could be the Pokemon effect, though?
I mean, I think it's going to be interesting now to watch what happens with Yokai Watch. I was personally hoping how the digital event did developer interviews for Star Fox and Yoshi. I was hoping to actually have seen Level 5 talk to Iwata.
Because that game is huge in Japan, but they haven't actually explained it much here.
Yeah,
they just gave us a trailer.
The franchise is incredibly huge in Japan, to the point where the anime was recently voted by parents of kids between 1 and 12 as being the most popular kids show on TV in Japan.
Not bad.
The games Yokai Watch 2, when that first launched last July, it sold over 2 million copies in about a month.
Not too shabby.
I think the problem is, I think Nintendo of America really need to communicate to international audiences basically why they should care about Yokai Watch.
Definitely, yeah.
And whether or not it's going to going to 2016, it's going to be the year of yokai, as Hasbro have put it.
It's a year of
But the only
Luigi
issue
again,
I
man.
see with that is next year it's Pokemon's 20th, isn't it?
Yeah, they got to do something for that, surely.
Oh yeah. I mean, Game Freak were. I mean, a lot of people were glad that Game Freak didn't announce a new main game this year.
I'm honestly quite pleased that they didn't, because I think it's better for it to be announced closer to release, and also because people are a bit sick of Pokemon at this point. I'm not
Yeah.
completely sick of it, but it's at the point where it needed a rest, and to announce one at E3, I don't think would have done them any good.
No, all they could have done really was what Pokemon Z.
Yeah, I think whatever Game Freak do next, it's going to have to be something big,
Definitely, yeah.
because I mean it's losing. I mean it's still selling pretty strong worldwide, but it is losing market share too. As just said, a Yokai Watch, and I think the next games will probably be the first titles that entered development since the rise of Yokai Watch.
I think a theme of Nintendo's E3 was that you can tell they're waiting for the NX because a Mario game has to be in development. A Metroid game has to be in development. We'll talk about the other
Then
one.
that has been said that the main Metroid isn't. But with
Yeah,
Mario, I think it's
but
been known
you have to
that the
imagine.
main
Sorry.
EAD, they are working on something.
Yeah, well, you've got to imagine that Pokemon is going to be an NX game now. I mean, imagine if they launched with Pokemon on NX.
I think that would be the most ideal scenario, but the concern I have is Game Freak have already shown that when the 3DS launched and they had Pokemon Black 2 and White 2,
Yeah.
it's shown that they don't really pay as much attention to. I think they like to keep new consoles for new generations.
Yeah, I mean, that was
Um,
weird, wasn't it? Black and White. They came
I,
out the same
I,
month or something.
I think with Black and White, a lot of the problem was that they didn't have the 3DS kits to start building the game on early enough as well.
Yeah,
mhm.
that'd make sense.
Well, I think the Pokemon Company, they were one of the first developers to receive kits for the console. But I
Yeah,
think,
but it's still different to Nintendo doing it in house, is kind of the problem.
yeah. But I think, bro, considering Nintendo's current position with the 3DS not being as strong as DS was, and when the Wii U
Well,
not
handhelds,
seeing no end of Wii
the
success,
Vita
I think it would
shows
be
that,
it
you
would
know,
be in their best interest for Nintendo to maybe sit Game Freak down and go, look, guys, we know you like doing it this way, but have a next Pokemon game for NX launch.
also, I think the games are just getting stale. I think people are going off them slowly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have to agree. I mean, a lot of people that I spoke to around Pokemon X and Y's launch, they were quite hyped for the games.
I was, yeah.
I think everyone was. But with Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, a lot of the reception I've seen come from like friends who have played, even people who used to play competitively, have said it's boring now.
Well, I think the main upgrade with X and Y was actually visually. So that was good for one game, but when you got to Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, that kind of worn off.
Well, to be honest, I think when I got to Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, I actually thought the new visual style was pretty ugly.
I quite liked it. I think
It's
what
okay.
killed the new games for me was just the fact that there wasn't much to do post game. So even though I used to
Definitely.
play competitive and stuff, I just got bored.
Yeah.
I think the problem is as well is in the marketing leading up to its release, they just focused on the Mega Evolutions.
Yeah, no one cares really, do they?
Not
I mean,
really.
Mega Evolutions are pretty cool. They've changed the competitive play field drastically, but it's like, and then
Unless you do Mega Magikarp, I don't care. I'm sorry.
but is that in those complaints how like the story of Ruby and Sapphire was changed to fit Mega Evolutions into the narrative,
Mm.
and I don't know, it's just.
Yeah.
I think I wrote a feature about it a while ago about what I think needs to happen to the Pokemon franchise. I think it needs a big change because the whole, start off in a starting town, get your Pokedex,
8 badges. Yeah.
get 8 badges, beat a villain team by 7th gym, do the league. The formula needs to be broken.
Well, it's like 20 years old, isn't it?
Well, yeah, next February the franchise turns 20.
Speaking of anniversaries, Metroid turns 30 next year.
Yeah.
We've got a great game for that. Federation Farce. I mean, Force. I'll give the credit to Josh for that joke, but yeah, Metroid was a big talking point at E3.
Yeah, sadly not in the way Nintendo would have hoped.
Well, we started off in the Nintendo World Championships. We got Blast Ball. Everyone thought it looked very Metroid, but
I will admit, Blast Ball did look very cool if it had been a standalone thing and it wasn't tied into Metroid.
yeah. And then they slapped the Metroid Prime name on, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, Blast Ball, especially when I watch the Nintendo Treehouse sessions, it does look fun. But when we saw Federation Force's main mode, it looked like an N64 game.
yeah. It
Uh,
just yeah.
I'm just not really sure what we're trying to get at. I mean, it looks almost like a Nintendo trying to do something like Monster Hunter.
You
That's
got a
Evie
Predator.
giving her opinions on Federation Fast as well.
I think that Nintendo just hasn't got a Metroid game, and they needed to get something out there.
Yeah, they kind of scraped this little idea together, which, to be honest, to be perfectly honest, if they'd not made it Metroid, if they'd made it something completely original, I think people would have took to it a lot more than what's happened.
Just call it Federation Force.
Yeah, just go Federation Force.
I don't think people would have been as offended. No.
Yeah.
I think the main issue I have with it is the game just doesn't. Like, it needs a big graphical polish.
Definitely.
I mean, to be honest, I mean, it being a Metroid game, I don't see a big issue with, considering how the fan reaction was like when Metroid Prime was first announced.
Yeah, but I think it's a different kind of situation. I don't. It will probably end up being a good game, but it's not the big blockbuster Samus game. Most importantly, Samus game that we want.
Yeah. Metroid's always been about isolation, and in this game it's obviously a unique take of expanding that theme by isolating us from Samus.
Yeah, isolating us in a football stadium. Yeah, I don't know, but Reggie's been talking about it. He said a few things. Their PR's been a bit all over the place.
Yeah, I mean
Kensuke
Reggie
Tanabe.
is. I mean, people used to love Reggie, but I think he's starting to wear thin. And the more
maybe,
he at
possibly.
E3, I think he went to damage control mode. And
Yeah, he contradicted himself a few times.
yeah, the amount of time I read some of his statements, like what he said in regards to virtual reality, and I was rolling my eyes, thinking, Reggie, just shut up.
That wasn't good. But so it started with the Metroid Prime producer Kensuke Tanabe. He said they do want to make another game, but he also said that it wouldn't come out to the NX, so it would take about 3 years, which isn't the best thing to hear. But
no, I think even if there wasn't anything in development, they should have been more vague, just to give some. They want people to buy a Wii U. Yeah, if they want people to buy Wii U. So maybe if they said, "Oh, we're over our ideas," there might be one in the future. Maybe not today. Maybe in a few months. But now
they are clearly holding off for NX now, and it's like if you have a Metroid game, do you release it on Wii U where it's gonna? I mean, Metroid has never sold amazingly, and on Wii U it probably won't.
nah,
Or do you save it
that's
for the
true.
NX?
The thing with the Wii U is because we know the NX is coming. It's kind of at the point now where everybody knows the Wii U only has so long left. So there's really no point pretending that stuff isn't being held back for the NX in a lot of ways from Nintendo's
I
stand.
think it's really interesting to see. We don't really know what the NX is. So people are saying obviously, as you said, Wii U, because that means the NX, but there's also the 3DS on the other hand. I think we all know. The only thing we know is the NX isn't going to be what we traditionally expect.
I think we know it's a traditional games console. I think we know it is a games console, but that's about it.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, I think I've seen a lot of ideas floating around. I think my biggest idea is for the NX to be like Nintendo's iOS and for it to work on different platforms.
So would the NX be like the hub?
Yeah, with NX being like the main operating system, the hub. So in that case, it would replace both the handheld and console. Because maybe it could be like the Apple's devices, and that there's the portable iPhone, but there's also the Mac, and they both run on iOS.
Yeah, I think lots of people think it's a crossover kind of thing, but
Yeah, so I mean, do you know what? I think Nintendo do need to go that way because, as we've seen with 3DS and Wii U generation, they can't keep momentum of both at the same time.
no. And third parties are leaving.
Yeah, I think all they really have now are like Capcom and Atlas, essentially,
Yeah.
and Bandai sometimes.
The biggest problem they're going to have, if it is a fusion, though, is that they're going to kind of struggle to market it. Because we've seen with the Wii U to a degree that they didn't really know how to market that it's a new console. It wasn't like an add-on to the Wii.
No one knew what it was.
In a lot of ways, I think that's going to be quite a big hurdle for them to overcome.
I think what they could alleviate that by a brand new brand, they scrap the Wii brand. I mean, it happened in both the 3DS and the Wii U. People weren't sure if like the 3DS was just another revision of the DS or not.
I think the biggest error was to call it the Wii U.
Yeah.
I mean, at least call it Wii 2 or something, but no one had any idea what it was outside of like core Nintendo fans. Like the general public, they just thought it was a Wii.
Yeah, and that still stands today. There's a lot of people who still don't really understand the Wii U.
I remember that E3, I think it was 2012, when the first thing they showed was the tablet, and people thought, oh, is it an attachment? Or is it a console? And they didn't actually show the console, and it was just bemusing.
Yeah, I remember that. And yeah, the messaging at the start of Wii U's life wasn't the best, and they've never really recovered.
But yeah, moving on to a more positive note, we have been playing some games recently, Nintendo games. Dem's been playing Yoshi Woolly World, and she likes it. So what have you been thinking?
I honestly would go as far to say it's one of the best Wii U games right now. It's really, really good, and it's Nintendo sort of showing that it's a lot like Mario Galaxy in a way, in that it's the game that sort of defines Nintendo's creativity.
Yeah.
In a lot of different ways. It's a lot of fun. I do feel like they sort of weren't. They didn't make the bosses as good as they could have been, I think, and they reused them a lot, which is a bit of a shame because that's really the only big problem I have with it.
I've seen that as a common criticism.
Yeah, it's a shame, but it is a really brilliant game, and I would say that any Wii U owner needs to have it in their collection.
Do any of you have the amiibo?
Yes, I've them.
Yeah,
they look adorable.
I was just about to mention them because I'm actually holding mine right now.
Are you squeezing it or?
Yeah, they're easily the cutest amiibo I've seen.
Not
yeah,
Ganondorf?
they're brilliant.
Oh no, I mean, in the second, Ganondorf's the second place. You know, he's an adorable little guy, but
Oh, see, now I want a woolly Ganondorf.
That'd be brilliant. I'd like to see more Woolly games, actually. Don't just stop at Yoshi, like go do Woolly Mario or something.
Well, they did Kirby, didn't they? So.
Yeah.
maybe
Oh my God, I want a Kirby
maybe we can get
okay,
Woolly
sorry.
Metroid.
That would be kind of awesome.
It would be, but it would also, everyone would just rage.
No, I think people would like to own a little Woolly Samus.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think so.
But yeah. So I mean, any final thoughts on it? I haven't played it. I do need to play it at some point. Are you planning to get it, Josh?
I've owned the game since launch day, but I've admittedly haven't played that much of it because I've been playing other games, which I'll get onto in a second. But I've really enjoyed it. I remember back, Will, when we went to EGX last year.
Yeah, we played it there.
Yeah, I was expecting to go in and thinking Kirby was going to be amazing and Yoshi was going to be awful. Because despite me loving Yoshi, Yoshi's New Island was awful.
It really was.
But I ended up coming out thinking the opposite. I loved Yoshi, but hated Kirby.
Yeah, I love the soundtrack as well for Woolly World. It's one of Nintendo's best in a long, long time. It's one of those soundtracks that I really, really want to own. So I hope they release it on disc at some point because it's brilliant.
And
And
just the
also,
art
we got
style.
it before Japan and America, so that's another plus.
America doesn't get it till October.
October, yeah.
It's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
and
Amazing.
Japan are only getting it later this month.
Yeah,
That's
they get
crazy.
it next week, as far as I remember.
Wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we'll move on to kind of a final topic. Actually, there's one more after that if we have time. But Fire Emblem. So we all loved Fire Emblem Awakening. It was probably our favorite game on the
It
3DS
was our
overall.
game of the year on the year it came out.
2013, yeah.
Yep.
But obviously there's a new Fire Emblem, Fire Emblem If.
Well, Fire
Oh
Fates
wait, no,
is now
Fates now. Sorry.
internationally. Yep.
But yeah, it's got two versions. But there's been a bit of controversy. I'll let Josh explain this.
Yeah. Well, initially, a few weeks ago, Nintendo came out and confirmed that the game will feature same-sex partnerships because of the last game, the relationships that can develop between the characters was a huge feature. It was really popular. And then when they released Tomodachi Life, it was received controversy because you weren't able to have your Miis enter relationships with Miis of the same gender. Fire Emblem Fates there's a character in each of the different storylines that can enter a same-sex partnership with the Avatar, which people were heralding as a great move on Nintendo's part. But once the game came out, due to some very rough initial translations, there's been a bit of a stir about a certain character, Soleil. She's when she appears in the game, she is a girl who is obsessed with cute girls. I think it's like a big part of like a Japanese otaku subculture where you'll get like in anime and manga, there'll be girls who just love cute girls. They'll be completely heterosexual, but they just like cute girls because hey, they're cute and cute things are cute.
Sure.
And in the support conversation with the Avatar, there's a subplot where Soleil has an issue where she finds these cute girls so cute that when she encounters them on the battlefield, she faints.
That sounds quite inconvenient.
Yeah, so imagine you faint on the battlefield, and next thing you know, while you're unconscious, someone's going to stab a spear straight through you.
Yeah.
So, from what I've
not
gathered
great.
from reading up on the issue, is that she asks the Avatar to help her with this, and the way he does it is he creates this potion that makes her see women as men temporarily.
Okay.
And it ends up solving her issue. She's thankful for the fact that he put it in her drink. And then everyone's happy, she's over the issue, and she and the Avatar get together.
Simple.
Because of the way it was poorly translated by some fans, it's caused this stir where people are claiming that the character was homosexual and was turned heterosexual. So, as in that, in like that gay conversion therapy controversy.
But obviously that's not what actually happened.
Yeah, that's obviously not what happens. It's a case of people just going off rough translations, not knowing the context of
On the
both the
internet.
game and the whole subculture that Fire Emblem's now become a part of. And we thought it's clear the character is heterosexual. I won't say the names of the characters who aren't, because that might be seen as spoilers for some people. But they can enter S-rank relationships with a same-sex avatar, but Soleil can't. So I think that kind of nails it down. And another Fire Emblem is seeing an interesting reception from its hardcore fans as well, because how they see it become more like anime. I mean, like, she's got moe pandering aspect of it. Like the My Room feature has
Because
got a
obviously the
lot of.
cutscenes are very anime.
Oh yeah, I mean, My Room. It's like WUaM from X and Y, but instead of Pokemon, it's for human characters. You can
Okay.
poke them with your stylus; they'll react.
Sounds slightly dodgy, but we'll move on.
Yeah, well, I mean, I mentioned earlier that I've been playing other games so I haven't been playing Yoshi. The game I've been playing a lot, because I'm an impatient guy, I've been playing Fire Emblem Fates.
I think quite a few people have actually imported that.
Yeah, I mean, I bought it from the Nintendo eShop, and I'm currently playing through the Hoshido route. And I've said the My Room feature, it's a lot more innocent than people have let on.
Yeah. But I
Um,
think the Tomodachi Life thing last year, I remember that. That was a whole mess by Nintendo. So,
oh yeah, Nintendo did not help with that.
I
Yeah,
But
mean,
although to be fair, I think Nintendo did sort of come out afterwards and acknowledge that they should have done it differently, and that if they do another one, they probably will do it differently.
this could be a result of that.
Potentially.
but yeah, but with the one thing I found quite adorable with the My Room aspect, my avatar recently married one of the Hoshido characters. And if I go into my room, now once again, you open up and she sat there on the sofa. And then when I open it, you just like, everything, her face would appear on the bottom screen. I was like, rub it with my stylus. And she reacts in doing that, just blushing, and everything. It's fully voiced in that mode, but
Oh, cool.
everything she says is more sweet than saucy. I mean, obviously, what character say will depend on the personality of a different character, but I found myself thinking more fluffy, light, more happy than I do when I say watch Monster Musume.
I knew you'd get that in there somewhere.
Yeah, I had to get that in there somewhere.
But
So
obviously, so it's been blown out of proportion, as
yeah,
most things are.
I
But
think
what
yeah,
about
well,
the actual
the
game?
internet's like at the moment. Everything, especially if it involves sexuality, it gets blown out of proportion on blogs, on certain websites. I mean, look at the whole Senran Kagura thing.
Yeah.
Um,
What do you make of the actual game? How are
the
you enjoying
game
it?
itself. I mean, I'll be writing a full first impressions article once I've finished the Hoshido route, but I'm loving it. Even though even though I can't understand the written dialogue, um, I
How are you getting through that?
I'm getting through it. You can pick up bits and pieces from the way characters react to each other, and the cutscenes, which are brilliantly animated. Okay, everything we have seen in trailers, all the CGI bits and stuff, it's all in the game and it's all in 3D and it looks amazing.
Oh, fantastic.
I am very glad to hear that, to be honest, because the trailers have made it look amazing, so I'd be quite disappointed if it didn't look that quality on the
Yeah,
actual
and
console.
the gameplay is. I mean, one thing I've went on a lot about on social media is how I think it's been shown in the trailers how when you initiate combat between two units, the screen kind of makes a swooshing effect, and then it closes up on the units, and the background shows where they're positioned on the map. That
Cool.
transition, even now, I'm about 12 hours into the game, it still impresses me.
Brilliant. Oh, you've
From
been speaking of the length. You've been talking about the length quite a bit, haven't you?
I have. I will admit, one thing I was disappointed by was how early on in the game you're made to decide the path to go down with Hoshido or Nor.
Okay.
Um, in Nintendo's Treehouse, they said that it's Chapter 6, which, considering how long Fire Emblem Awakening was,
Sounds like a
made
big
me
chunk.
feel more optimistic. But I was made to decide when I'd only played for about an hour.
Was that actually in chapter 6 then?
Yeah, it was in chapter 6, but chapters 1 through 5 go really quickly.
Do you know how many chapters are in the game?
I think Nintendo said each story path is about 22.
I imagine they do get a lot harder though.
Yeah,
Get a lot longer after you've made a choice as well, because it might just be it wants to rush you through to make a choice, and then the game sort of expands a lot from there.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the game, I've yet to play the Nor path, but I'll be doing it as soon as I complete Hoshido. But even the game completely changes from what has been said. It's where, like, Hoshido will have a general world map, like Fire Emblem Awakening did. But with Nor, it will play more like a traditional Fire Emblem game, like the really early ones.
Yeah.
So even outside of the story, the gameplay changes. But I'm questioning how long it's going to take me to finish the games. By the time I finished Awakening, my playtime was 100 hours plus.
Damn.
I'm halfway through the Hoshido story,
Well,
and I'm
hopefully,
only on about 10 to 12ish.
this one's got as much DLC as the other one, because I think the DLC was handled really well in Awakening.
Yeah. Well, one thing I think will take up my time is I'm starting to unlock all the side quests now, because my characters are starting to get married and having the children characters appear.
So you still get all that stuff.
Yeah, I will have to put my hands up and admit it was if it was yesterday or the day before yesterday, I was playing Fire Emblem Fates on my way to work, and I had about 10 minutes to kill before my shift was due to start. So I was outside the store playing Fire Emblem, and I was playing through the side story mission where I met my child, my avatar's child.
Your real child.
No. The child of my avatar in the game.
What aren't you telling us, Josh?
But I found it, even though I couldn't read what it was saying, I just found it adorable to think, this is my avatar's child. And that's what I loved a lot about Awakening, was I could see these little families forming.
Your family. But yeah,
With Awakening, one thing I loved was I had Crom marry Sumiya, so Lucina and Cynthia being sisters, and I just loved watching the dialogue between them.
Faja was my wife. But anyway, moving on. Dem, have we got time to talk about the Nintendo PlayStation?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, cool. Josh has got the details, but really vaguely, the infamous collaboration that never happened between Sony and Nintendo to make the PlayStation. Of we never knew what happened, and we never will. But it has come up that someone, I think it's on Reddit, has found or has a prototype of the actual system. Go into more detail, Josh. But
Yeah. Well, it was back in the early 1990s. At the 1991 Consumer Electronics Show, Sony announced that they had a partnership with Nintendo to produce a console that was compatible with both SNES cartridges and CDs, which they call the PlayStation. The next day, Nintendo revealed that instead they were going with Philips. We all know how
that went well.
Nintendo and Philips, that didn't work either. And as part of the licensing fallout, we had the Zelda
We
CDI
don't talk
game.
about them.
So after that, Sony were feeling, pretty ticked off at what Nintendo had done, publicly embarrassing them. So they partnered up with Sega. And Sega obviously were Nintendo's biggest rivals at the time. Sega of America, Sony of America, and Sony Japan all wanted to do this joint console that would smash Nintendo in the face. Sega Japan, as always, mucked things up and said no. So then, Sony, as we all know, they went their own way. And in 1994, we had the PlayStation.
It's turned out alright for them, actually, hasn't it?
Yeah. It's quite funny. Think of now where the PlayStation 4 is in comparison to the Wii U. Where would Nintendo have been if things had went differently?
Of course, if you look at Sony in general, it hasn't turned out amazingly. But
yeah, but I mean, back then, Sony were quite hesitant about moving into the console space because obviously there was a video game crash in the late 1980s. And they just didn't see video games being that viable. But the main person who pushed for it was actually said to be the source of this recent re-emergence of the prototype. Who was Olaf Olafsson, who
Olaf.
at the
Sounds like a Lord of
time,
the Rings character.
or a Frozen character,
Very different types of
Olaf
characters.
Olafsson was a former CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment, and also a few years ago, remember a company that he worked for after Sony, Advanta Corporation, went bankrupt, and as part of that bankruptcy, the offices had to be cleared out. And found within the stuff that had been taken from the office was this prototype.
That's one hell of a find.
Yeah, it's a hell of a find. I mean, the internet's gone crazy with it. And even Shuhei Yoshida of Sony, Sony's big head honcho,
Yeah.
has commented on it, although he wouldn't confirm or deny that it was the real deal.
Am I right in saying that they don't have the power supply?
Yeah, that's true. They don't have a power supply,
That's a shame.
so they haven't been able to run it yet.
I'd love to see what it actually looked like on screen.
Yeah, I mean, Shuhei Yoshida actually said he played the prototype back in the day when they were still working on it. But it's a real piece of history that's come out, if it is legitimate, of course.
It's amazing to think what might have changed. Because obviously we'd
Yeah.
have no PS4.
Yeah, well, yeah, what, the Nintendo PlayStation 4 or something like that.
To be fair, I think if Sony and Nintendo had ended up working together, it would have been really, really good. We would be in a really good place right now for video games if they'd worked together.
I'd say we still are, but yeah, in a different way.
Yeah, we still are, but in a different way, because I think Nintendo's shortcomings could have been helped if they had worked with someone like Sony.
It's fair to say that Sony have marketed a lot better than Nintendo recently.
Yeah, Sony have done really well with the PS4, even though we're kind of at a point now in the games industry where there's not too much you can do with video games anymore. I mean, you can only just keep improving it graphically.
But I
Stuff
think the
like
whole
PlayStation,
"this is for the
Xbox,
gamers"
same.
thing, that was really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
That's
I think the best thing I saw was when the PlayStation 4 first came out. They must have paid paid the Sun a bomb to have page 3 instead be a 2-page spread of a PS4 with a message saying, "Sorry,
know that.
but this is for the players."
That's fantastic. I did not know
Yeah,
that.
that's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
I will admit I've yet to buy. I think I'm probably only one of the three of us who doesn't own a PlayStation 4 yet,
Are
but
you
I
going to?
want one.
You should.
Well, in fairness, I was going to hold off until closer to the end of this year, just because the PlayStation is in the place where there's not a lot of games. But I ended up getting one in the January sales, so yeah.
Of
Yeah,
course, you're getting more
there
games
are a
now.
few games that I think it's
Batman just came
interesting
out.
to obviously. It's quite odd we're on a Nintendo podcast talking about we're praising the PlayStation, but obviously people who follow the site probably know me. I love the smaller niche Japanese titles.
You're a fan of the Vita, aren't
So
you?
do I, to be honest. I'm a big fan of Japanese games, so I appreciate Nintendo and Sony the most out of what we get, to be honest.
Yeah, to be fair, like my younger brother got an Xbox One the other few months ago. We looked through the library and and I was like, well, where's all the games? But with Nintendo are doing very. They've obviously got Illusory Revelations, Sharp FE coming out in
Also
Japan
known
this
as
year.
very Japanese game.
Yeah, that's well, we used to know Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem. But now it's looking more like Persona featuring Fire Emblem.
To be fair,
Honestly, who knew what was going on in that trailer?
it has to be said, considering that I am quite a big fan of Persona, that it just looks amazing because of that. Because it's so close to Persona, it looks amazing.
Yeah, I think of the die-hard Shin Megami Tensei fans have their knickers in a twist about it, but I love it. I think Nintendo, that was nothing criticism at E3. They should have done more of that game.
Yeah,
They should have at
personally,
least subtitled the trailer
Yeah,
and
I
given
do find it really
titles that made
surprising that they
sense.
didn't.
personally, I prefer it to be Fire Emblem feat Shin Megami Tensei in a way, but that's just how I think.
I think because Nintendo doesn't have a lot of the Persona games though, because obviously they are on PlayStation, it's quite nice that it's a more Persona-like game.
Although,
on
saying
something-
that, I think one thing I was reading the other day, one that came out as being very interesting was Persona Q Shadow of the Labyrinth's first week sales were considerably higher than Persona 4 Golden's in
Really?
Japan.
That's
I
interesting,
am
actually.
quite surprised by that, but then I think it's because the install base of 3DS is higher than the Persona 4 Golden was on PS4 on the Vita,
Vita.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
The
That was-
Vita's pretty popular in Japan still. But I mean, Persona Q was just an amazing game. I mean, obviously, I reviewed it for the site because there's NIS America, who distributed it in Europe, obviously they were kind enough to give me a review copy so I could play it. Phenomenal game.
Yeah. I haven't played a Persona game, but I've only heard fantastic things.
Yeah, I mean, you should. I mean, to be fair, a lot of people say the PlayStation Vita is a Persona 4 machine.
I mean, I might pick up a PS Vita one day because they're only going to get cheaper, if we're honest.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see though with where the series goes. One thing I'd like to see, for example, is Persona 5 is coming out on PS3 and PS4, but I'd like to see it come to Wii U.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think that. I mean, the Wii U needs some more games, but it would be amazing. But I just can't
Yeah.
see it happening.
I mean, at this late in the game, I don't see a port happening per se, but I'd like there to be more like Persona love on Nintendo's consoles in the future. I mean, Persona Q has shown that there is demand. Shin Megami Tensei does pretty well for itself as well.
Yeah. Well,
So
I think,
it's need for Persona.
the NX, who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, I've been asking me a bold new territory.
I
Which
think, yeah, and we're going to talk
I'm
about
going
that
up.
next week. And we're going to hold off on you because we're already going over time. But
yeah, didn't we say it was like 20 minutes? And
46 minutes.
look at my call time, we were like over 40 because we ended up going on about Persona.
This happens
and
all the
stuff
time.
like that.
But yeah, next week we're going to talk more about the NX and what we think could happen. We've talked about some reviews. Go and check out Dem's Yoshi review on the site, WiiUandMii.com. Check us out on Twitter, @WiiUandMii.
Yeah.
Individual Twitter handles, Josh
Mine's at Joshua Watt.
and Dem.
Where is she?
Dem. Has Dem gone MIA? I think it's at reporter Dem. Anyway,
Yeah.
I think Dem's. I don't know what's happened. Hopefully she's fine.
If not, we'll soon
cool.
find out.
This is the first We and Me podcast. This will be going up. Well, obviously you're hearing it, so it's up now. But yeah, we're going to aim to do these more and more. So look out for this next week. Talk about the NX. Be sure to send in any thoughts you have, any questions. We'll answer them.
Yeah. Let us know if you think it was good. Let us know if you think it was terrible. Okay. Ooh, let's start a discussion that will probably get a lot of people sending angry messages or whatever, just to kickstart a discussion.
Well, it's your fault. You talked about Monster Miniature, whatever it was.
Monster Musume.
Exactly. You've ruined it. We're going to be taken off the site.
No, okay. Let's just see how many people are going to respond to this. Let's finish off with a closing
Oh,
statement.
God.
Chie is the best girl in Persona.
All right. See you next week. Oh, dear.